So welcome everybody. Lovely to see you all. Speaking about this can make it sound as though there is a this. That this is something. Of course it can't, there's no possibility of it not sounding like something. Words are names for things. So whenever I'm using the word this, I'm not speaking about something. Well, that's tricky. And I've been accused of misleading by saying this. But as I've said hundreds of times, I just can't find a more appropriate word. Because if you're going to refer to everything and nothing, I mean, I'm open to offers, suggestions about what is a more appropriate word to use. But the truth is, I couldn't give a shit. Because, of course, if this is referring to everything and nothing, which when I am attempting to refer to everything and nothing, I use the word this, it just simply doesn't matter. But this isn't something. And it is laughable. It's all there is. And it isn't something. Well, that's funny in itself. And it seems obvious that what human beings have attempted to do is name the unnameable. It's not unnameable. I mean, any name will do. And I mean, how many names has this had? How many names does this still have? And I don't know this, but I don't doubt it, that this couldn't give a shit what you call it, because it isn't anything to care about what's said. And the freedom and the peace and the love is in the very, very simple impossibility of knowing. There is no peace in knowing. Any knowledge is just waiting to be disproved. This can't be proved and isn't interested in any proof. No evidence required. And so, of course, there's no finding this. You've looked hard enough. I looked hard enough. I studied. I listened to experts, thinking that others must know more about this than simple me. Isn't it wonderful that there are no human beings who know more or less about this? For me, that is the unconditional love, that I don't doubt that there are more knowledgeable human beings about this, because there is no knowledge about this. Well, I'll retract that straight away. There is only knowledge about this, not of this, about this. And knowledge about this knowledge about life isn't life. It's knowledge about life, dissecting this wholeness into parts that are manageable and knowable. This doesn't have any parts. There is nothing apart. This is essentially empty. And it doesn't matter how much you slice up emptiness. Emptiness is untouched, untouchable. And it can be terribly disconcerting to not know, to the one who always wanted to know and accumulated knowledge and understanding. But if liberation means anything, it is in the impossibility of knowing, regardless of what seems to be known. Even liberation for knowledge and understanding, they remain the same, but empty. Essentially insignificant, losing all their... If you'd given them intrinsic value, all of that is lost. So you can still value relative knowledge. but not absolute. Knowledge is only relative. And then it's beautiful. I still love a quiz show. Everything relative is beautiful. I mean, it could be beautifully ugly. And so the seeming emptiness of not knowing is paradoxically full of love. And that will not make any sense at all. It doesn't. It's not that it's, I mean, I've been rattling on seemingly for years about this shit, and you'd think that that would make more sense. It doesn't. So I spent years, decades, trying to know myself. That was my quest, really. I mean, other seekers, they have different, maybe a slightly different approach. I think a lot of seekers want to know God. Well, I'd already discounted him. But myself, oh no, I hadn't discounted me. And so my search was for myself, not any old self. You know, I studied psychology, not the egoic self, not the grand self, the absolute self. So when I first encountered Advaita and I saw self written with a capital S, I thought, bingo, Yahtzee, now we're talking. Big self, universal self, the grandest of grand selves. So I've said quite a few times that this is of great, monumental disappointment to self. That there is no grand self. There is no absolute self. I don't know that. All I can say is the grand quest ended in abject, complete and utter failure. Total. Annihilated every shred of hope of me ever finding what I was looking for. This is not what I was looking for. I was looking for that, not this. What can you seek for other than that? It can never be this. This is already no requirements, no traveling, no work, no knowledge, no understanding, nothing at all to do, nothing to be attained. The peace that passes all understanding. This is totally at peace, regardless of how it appears. And that, I think, can be misheard, that, okay, it's all right for Tim. Everything's okay with Tim now. He's at peace. He has the peace that passes all understanding. Does he fuck us like? No, not at all. The peace is in the anger. The peace is in the getting pissed off. The peace is in the judgment. The peace is in everything that you've said is not peace. Not that everything is okay, that everything is okay when it's not okay. Now that is past understanding. It makes no fucking sense at all. It's just very simply that life appears as it is, and how could it be other than as it is? Of course it couldn't. It is as it is. Not as it was, not as it will be, as it is. Complete. Completely ungraspable. It never remains. Nothing remains. It always passes away. It's passed away as it appears. There is no ground. And amazingly, that's okay. I mean, how wonderful. Dreadfully wonderful. It's not even that you don't get to keep anything. Nothing is kept. It's not that even, you know, the fact that there's no you to keep anything sounds dreadful, but it's much more dreadful than that. Nothing remains. The illusion is that anything ever remains. You and me are making all that shit up. If you'd like to ask anything or you'd like to share anything, then just put your hand up.
Razia has a hand up.
Hi, Razia.
Hi, everyone. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Razia.
I enjoyed your introduction. Very powerful stuff. Yeah, we never know what's this going to be like. Eventually, initially, there are always going to be people who will tell you, "Hey, this is not all what it seems." You know, it's a lot of sacrifice. There's a lot of you're going to lose a lot, this and that, and obviously, they try to put you off. And that's not putting you off. In fact, it's the truth, because like Tim says, you're losing a lot. I mean, even right now, like, I don't even have the desire to do anything. It's like takes away all your desires. And initially, it was just this desire to like go and share this. I just wanted to talk and tell people what this was like, and help them to come to some realization of it, and then you realize that there's no helping really. I mean, it's you're doing nothing, it's just being done,
Yeah.
So when your purpose is gone, what purpose do you have? You know what I mean? So I don't know really what to say really, because the only thing we have is experience, to experience this. Right, and then when we say experience, we're obviously talking about an experiencer. It becomes dualistic, that which experiences the whole thing. But the only thing we have to fall back on is the actual experience of to experience. There are people who have experiences like Tom and Michael and Dave and Husky, people like that who have flipped technically, when experienced this non-being. So that's the only thing, is to go ahead and I don't know. There's no methods really that you can achieve this by. But listening to talks, I like listening to talks, and attending Zoom meetings and doing, whatever.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just like going out into nature and looking at everything,
Yeah.
But I don't know if there's going to be any method that would lead us to this.
Oh, no.
And yeah, no, not really. But why not try everything? If you go on, I just try whatever. If you're reading a book, Tim Cliss has written a book, Michael Markham, and Nancy has written so many books, and all these books carry their resonance. Lots of you, I'm sure there are others here, but I don't know of, who have written books, and those books carry your resonance. And when you read the books, you kind of like pick up on that,
Yeah.
And yes, so there's ultimately it's just to have this experience of you not being the body really. If you feel yourself, you are out. You're not confined to a body anymore. It's just feeling it, You are that bird sitting on the tree, chirping. You are the one chirping, So gradually it becomes more and more like, as you attune to your environment, the people around you, then you start to see like they're not different from you. You start to feel them. Their thoughts are yours. Their feelings are yours. When they said, you said. It's like there's so much of, like Tim says, there's no evidence, but there's so much of evidence on the other end that we're not separate. you know, that we never were separate from this. And everything that happens there is an illusion, really. There's no others. There's only love. This love that expresses itself as so many different forms. This beauty that we see in others. And like Kim says, it's not always beautiful. Sometimes you see the anger, you see the other side of people, and it's so shocking. And you say, am I that as well? Am I the anger? Am I this hatred? Am I? And eventually you are everything. So you cannot separate yourself from whatever is happening.
No. Thanks, Reggie.
Thank you.
I was thinking, Tim, about what you said about this is always falling away. It's not though, is it, really? It's not falling away.
No. But you're never going to say what remains then.
No.
I mean appearance.
Mm-hmm.
That is. I mean how it is.
Mm-hmm.
How it is doesn't remain, does it?
No.
No. Guido, unmute yourself. Yeah, so you go down at there. If you look at the bottom, you've got a little microphone by your name.
Hey,
Hey.
are you hearing me? Hey, hi.
Hi.
Hi, Tim. You're saying everything is changing. Always. Does that not remains the same?
Well, what would you say remains the same, Guido?
That the constant changing.
Yeah, you could say that.
Okay. Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, and a lot of people do say that the only constant is change, yeah.
Yeah.
But of course,
Well,
yeah, it's nicely paradoxical. But what we're talking about there is what appears. So everything appears to change.
Yeah.
This doesn't change.
True.
And this constantly appears to change. Yeah, it's not making sense of any of that, Guido.
Yep.
You know, so everyone wants to make sense of it. So you understand that, Tim? No. No one understands that. If anyone tells me they understand that, I go, a lot cleverer than me. You know that there are people who may say, yeah, I've got the understanding. And this defies any understanding because everything is equally true and untrue. So, you know, this is the end of the search for truth. That's what I'm speaking. So for me, the search for truth was my true self. So searching for the true self, the absolutely true self. Now that's no different to saying the true God, really. It's the same search with a different flavor from a different angle, you could say, but it's the same search for the absolute.
For me, it's a little bit strange because I never searched. So that's yeah.
What the hell are you doing here, Guido?
Yeah, I don't know.
What are you doing
No,
here? If
I
you're
don't
not
know.
searching, what the hell are you doing?
I trembled upon something a few years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I hear you talk, and I think, yeah, makes sense.
I
Never
love
heard
it
how to
that you
speak.
think it makes sense. I'm guessing you're the only one here
I don't know.
that it makes sense for. I mean,
Okay, yeah.
but so you heard something around this message, and you thought, oh, there's something in that, or it was a track.
No.
No.
It's simply my own ideas that I wrote down a few
Oh, I
years ago,
see.
and
Okay.
then
Right.
yeah, and then I stumbled upon someone who talked about non-duality. I thought, yeah, that makes sense. That's my words. So
did you? So you wrote some words down, and then you heard someone else and thought, they're my words.
yeah.
Now
Yeah.
that sounds very fucking familiar to me.
I read the Upanishads. I read similar things.
Oh yeah.
It was really crazy. Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I remember that, and it still happens. I read Michael Markham's post, and I go, why is he writing what I write again?
Yeah. I have that a lot.
Yeah, that's true. That can be like, oh, well, that's lovely.
Yeah. So I've got nothing to say anymore. So
thanks, Guido.
Okay, you're welcome.
But
Thank you.
I mean, I don't know if that's a common experience for any of the rest of you, but yeah, when you read someone else's words and you really feel that they're yours.
Yeah. I get it a lot.
In a very visceral way. You know, it's like, I wrote that.
Yeah.
Yeah, really, in a very
I feel.
Yeah. I've had that. I've had that quite a few times. Well, I would say with all the writers, speakers who I like, because they say the same shit as me. I mean, that's not rocket science, is it? Of course.
No.
When we say resonance, and which is a common word in non-duality, it means a string of words that sound very much like I'd string them together.
Yeah.
I mean, there is another kind of resonance you could say that's just without the words, but certainly in language, it's like, well, didn't I say that? Or didn't I just think that? And then there it is written. Yeah. Oh, that's lovely.
Happens a lot. Really a lot. Yeah.
Thanks, Guido.
Yeah. Okay. You're welcome. Cheers.
Razia has a hand up.
Well, I was thinking about change, right? Because last week we also brought that up. And I mean, I'm also curious about this change thing, because basically we say there's a mountain, there's no mountain, there's a mountain again, implying that there's something, there's nothing, there's everything again. So basically, when we're looking at it, we take into account everything that exists, And if there are changes occurring in the physicality, then obviously there is change. It's applying to everything. This is everything. It's not exclusively just this that I feel, And obviously the physicality is changing. If you look at the fact that things like we had animals which no longer exist, the landscape is changing. There's the water levels are rising. So I mean, there is change happening. Then even if we look at us as personas, there is change. If you look at Neolithic man, I mean, he was like all down like that, and and man today is upright. So there is change happening.
Well,
and if there is change, then I mean,
well, there's only change in time, Razia.
Yes. And I mean, obviously, okay, right? Yeah,
There's-
you have a point.
I mean, if you don't remember how it was yesterday, nothing's changed, does it?
Yes, but unfortunately, there is memory. I mean, fortunately, there is
I wouldn't,
memory,
I wouldn't
but-
say it's unfortunate. It can just be obvious that a memory of yesterday is a memory of yesterday that's appearing now, and then there's an appearance of, oh, things have changed since then.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what's happening.
Yes.
That's what's happening, not the change. The change isn't happening.
Yes. Okay, but apparent change is happening. But I mean, even this now, this awareness that we are, right? Or like some people would say God or whatever. That should be changing too, because it's a mind. Don't you think?
No,
A mind. Doesn't a mind change?
I don't know anything about mind.
Mind, M-I-N-D.
Yeah, I mean, again, because I did a lot. I tried to, again, when I was seeking, it was all around mind. You know, it was psychological studying, most of my seeking. And psychology constantly talks about this thing, not the brain, as Michael talked about it, but the mind. And not only is there a thing called the mind, but then there's a thing called me that has a mind and can change its mind. You know, and I was looking for those. So I was looking for this thing called mind. And of course, I was looking for this thing called me. And to understand, to make sense. I never found a mind, and I never found myself. And I ended up speaking every Thursday about that. That's quite a funny story.
Yeah, it's just emptiness. It's nothing there. It's about like you said, the peace that passeth
I mean,
understanding.
I think of all the most abstract ideas, mind is probably the most, really. This thing, mind, as a thing, as an objective thing. The mind. Well.
But that's all that we have. We have words. As long as, how can I say, like this, the moment I say thing, it becomes something, you know? That's all we have to, yeah.
Well, that's the only way we can speak, of course, yeah. But we don't have those things. No. But yeah, language is only objectifying. Yeah. But we don't have anything.
No. I think Michael wants to say.
Michael. Thanks, Razia.
Thank you.
Thank you, Tim. It's a wonderful introduction. Change could only exist in the presence, or imaginary or apparent change could only exist in the presence of actual things. And there's no such thing as things. They exist only in the naming of them. A river doesn't change. It's not an actual thing in itself. A river has apparent changes. It may raise water level or lower it. It may enter the ocean. But it never existed as an actual separate thing. It's water. When my son was 4.5, we were down at a place. He grew up in the city, and we're camped out in the wilderness, and it was late at night, and he woke up, and we were in the back of an old pickup in sleeping bags, and he looked up and said, "Dad, what are all those little lights in the sky. For a moment, a split second, I saw the freshness of a 4-year-old's vision of little lights in the sky. And I said, oh, Thad, those are stars. And at that moment, they were known. They were given a label. And the world got a little smaller for him. I wish I would have said, what do you think they are? Or something like that.
Yeah.
Everything we see has a name. I used to offer $1,000 for anything that could think, anyone who could think of anything without a name.
I remember that.
Yeah.
I tried. I was thinking I wouldn't mind that $1,000.
There were no takers ever.
No.
Of course, we can't think of something unless it has a name, and that should tell us really all we need to know. Our world is nothing but labels, freeze-framed objects that exist only when we put a label on it for us. There probably is a physically manifested world out there, but we can never experience it directly. That's gone for us now. We are the brains, objectifying brains, unique perspective of a world we can never know. Knowledge of requires separate things too. And of course, we don't know what electricity, magnetism, we don't know what water is. Two explosive gases somehow melt together, and out comes water. How does that happen? Oh my God. We can never grasp we can't grok how magnificent it is to simply be human, to have this pristine awareness, aware that it's aware through objectification. It's not our enemy, it's the greatest gift in the universe. And in some cases, the greatest curse. I see people screaming on the street with the brain ripped open, torn to shreds, some type of hell that we can never grasp. There was a young couple, my wife went shopping, and I always stay in the car. And I was watching a young couple get out of an old van, and he was dark-skinned and he had lots of hair and that I don't know what they call them, the curls that come down, tattooed. And the girl got out and looked very hippie-like, and they were sour looking. I think they were guarded. And when they walked by, I said, you guys are a beautiful couple. And everything dropped. They dropped all of that. And they said, oh, thank you.
Of course they did.
They were beautiful. They were free in their van and doing whatever they do. I don't know what they do. But they were beautiful. And the world opened up a little bit for three of us. And they're still in my mind. I think they'll live there. All the people that I tell are beautiful. Crack open. I told a young lady who brought groceries to the car one time, I said, you're really good at this. You're going to go far in life because of your kindness and your promptness and your focus. And she started to cry. She said, no one ever told me that. There's some commonality we share in this emptiness, in this loneliness. You call it love. I think that's appropriate in lots of ways. We're tribal animals. We evolved in tribes, and we love our tribes. They're very important. The fire starter, the bot maker, the warrior, all were important. They were us. We are each other in the deepest sense. Our tribe is just bigger now. It's lovely to be here, Tim. I thank you for this meeting.
Oh, thanks, Michael. Thanks for coming. Thanks for speaking.
Shia has his hand up. Is it Shia? Is it Shia?
Yeah, this is Shia, yes. Hi, Tim.
Hi, Shia.
It's nice to see you. It's my first time which I participate in your
Oh, you're welcome.
meeting. Thank you very much. I have really nothing to ask about this message. I just want to say that I came soon to see you. I open Copenhagen.
Oh, lovely. Yeah, I'm looking
Yeah.
forward to seeing you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And I think to just remind you or the one who did write the time is not right. They did write September, but it's 6th in October, 6th, 7 and 8 in October, isn't it?
that's right.
But in the side they write September, so I become a little bit confused. And then my wife, she said,
Sorry, do you mean on my website it's wrong?
yes,
Oh,
they write September, but it's in October that I understood, isn't it?
oh, I do apologize for that. Yeah.
No,
So-
no.
Oh, well,
Is it-
I'm glad you've told me that. I'll change
Yeah,
it immediately.
but it's in October, isn't it? 6th and 7th and 8th.
Yeah, great
Yeah.
plug, Sheer. Thank
Yeah,
you.
yeah. Thank you.
It's 6,
Thank
7,
you
8.
very much. See you soon. Thank
Oh,
you.
I look forward to seeing you there. Yeah.
Thanks.
Oh, thanks for letting me know that.
Thank you.
So, yeah, if anyone else turned up 2 weeks ago in Copenhagen expecting to see me there, I wasn't fucking there, was I? So I can only humbly apologize for gross incompetence again. But yeah, thanks, Sheer. I'm in Copenhagen 6th, 7th, 8th of October.
Yeah, I think it's really great.
And there's still a very limited number of places available.
Yeah.
He said, tongue in cheek. But yeah, you're welcome to come. I mean, it is lovely. It's a lovely venue. And if you've not been to Copenhagen, it's a wonderful place. Beautiful
Yeah.
place.
Thank you.
Thanks, Sheer.
Kimo, go ahead, Kimo.
Kimo.
Yeah. Hey Tim. I look forward to stand up in Copenhagen if there's no seats.
Oh yeah, I'll get you a seat, Kimo.
Thank you, Tim. It was lovely to laugh because I'm so I don't know, touched by when you talk. When you talk about in a way your story, I don't hear the story. It's without a story. And when you talk about this and this, it's without in a way opposite all the time. But there is this sadness you often talk about, and it goes directly into the whatever. And then I think about what is the difference about, in a way, self-pity and just crying like hell when you talk. What, in a way, whatever you talk about, there is, for me, a lovely release, crying, and yeah, and no explanation, but it's just, it seems you know, the difference between to lose a girlfriend and in a way lose, and for me it's just something new, that it is not this losing a girlfriend, it's in a way this longing. Yeah, it's just in a way confusing, that when I in one situation, then it can be another person, and when I hear you, it's not a person, it's just crying like hell. Yeah, I don't know if it was a question or whatever, but
No, it's just lovely, Kimo.
Oh, thank you.
No, it's just beautiful. I mean, if it, I didn't think I'd ever stop crying. But something funny turns up and I laugh. But I still cry more than I laugh, probably. And then for months and months, I really didn't think the tears would stop. No, I don't want you to think that that is some kind of method, some kind of way. Well, I haven't cried, well, maybe I've not cried enough. I need to get on with it, I need to peel some onions, get the tears flowing there, that's where liberation is. No. But when literally there isn't anything left, because there aren't any things. I mean, Michael talks. No one talks better about no things than Michael. But when everything is lost, why wouldn't you cry? I'm just amazed more people don't cry all the time.
Right.
And of course, there is no greater love than sorrow. That's so overlooked by most selves. Most selves take sorrow to be a straightforward indication that something is wrong, because self has made happiness right and grief and sorrow and sadness wrong, an indication of something's wrong. Of course it isn't. Tears are the clearest expression of love. I have no doubt about that at all. Laughing's just more fun. Of course, laughter is a clear expression of love too. I don't know if you've noticed, those who don't cry don't laugh too much. Everything guarded, everything being kept safe. Self will do that if it can, or attempt to, is what I mean. Self is the whole illusion of self is the attempt to control life and manage it with this deluded, totally deluded idea that happiness is the key. Bullshit. Happiness just appears spontaneously, just like sorrow. We all know that. You can't make yourself happy. You've tried hard enough. And there can be a hell of a lot of misery in the trying.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kima.
Thank you, Tim.
Oh, you're welcome. David.
Hi, Tim, and everyone.
Hi, David.
So lovely to be with you all, laughing and crying. And there's just one thought that I felt could be shared with you. Whether laughing or crying, every breath I take is my last breath. That's it.
That's lovely.
Yeah. Enjoy it, laugh with it, cry with it.
Yeah.
Know that this is the last one. It's
Always.
okay. It's wonderful to know that.
It is, I mean, it is wonderful. It is dreadfully wonderful that, yeah, this is always the first breath and the last breath.
This is it.
Yeah.
Yep.
Beautiful, David.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Yeah.
Hi, Tim.
Hi, Natalie.
You know I'm going to say something. No,
But I was thinking you weren't.
maybe I should shut my mouth a little more. No, I think when I first heard you talking, when that was, whatever, you were talking about all the effort and the trying to figure out the true self. And I was like, yeah, that's what it sounded like, something that was up there or wherever, you know, rolling around, and you put words to it. And then it's like all that effort and all of that, like, trying was so effortlessly happening. You know, it's not like I made myself want that. It was so natural just to want to know, like, what this is and how to navigate it better, you know?
Yeah.
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 Yeah. I love you.
Oh, thanks, Natalie. Yeah, isn't it? I mean, what a miracle. There's no navigators. None required. No pilot. No driver. No navigator. Well, thank you for coming, everybody. I've already plugged Copenhagen, so that's in the first weekend in October. Then the last weekend in October. The last weekend in October, I'm in Folsom, Sacramento. Amazing. So Tej and Ben's here this evening, have invited me back to Folsom. The details of both of those are on my website. If you're at all interested, you'll be very welcome to come to either of those. So yeah, I'm spoiling myself with globe trotting. I know. Who would have thought? Anyway, it is a treat, and I'm really grateful to people who go out of their way to invite me and set it all up for me. So I have to literally just buy a ticket and get to the airport. How lucky. But yeah, I haven't got any London talks lined up at the moment, but we'll see. Thanks very much for coming, everyone.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for everyone who participated. I really appreciate that as well.
Thanks.
It's lovely.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everyone. Lovely to see you all.
Thanks, everyone.
Thanks, Tim.
Thank you, Tim.
Oh,
See
you're
you
welcome.
soon.
Lovely.
Thank you.
Much love.